Hello and welcome to another episode of Talk Cow Not Bull.
Isaac, the Klerk Farm?
The Klerk Farm.
The Klerk Farm.
Well, no, not only the Klerk, they call it.
The Klerk, is there something, or what was the name of it?
Yeah, I can't think of it.
That's the name of your Holstein herd. But I actually visited you here back in 2019. 2019. So
before the COVID.
Just before the COVID, yeah. Just before the COVID. So I just have the pleasure.
What time of year was that?
It was in the winter time, actually.
In the winter time?
Yeah, it was quite chilly. 2019, yeah.
Well, I didn't see it.
No.
I can't remember. Well, I wasn't around much. In 19, the winter, there's the first winter I was home from Florida.
Okay.
We went to Florida for 18 years.
Oh, you'd go down
in the winter.
In the winter.
3 months.
That's a typical Canadian
thing. We bought a trailer in a camp there.
Yeah.
And a lot of friends from us. We had about 10 couples there.
My in-laws do the same thing.
We had great winters.
I know.
That's when I retired. Retired. I never did really retire until here about 2 years ago.
Well, I'm just going to come back to that. I'm just going to turn the camera a little bit for people so they can see where we are in your beautiful farm. So I'm just going to turn that now. My camera skills are not the best. We have a lady outside the window here now, number 93. She's looking in at us. She's just starting to calf. So she might have calved before we leave. And I suppose you can see there that it's a robot farm. But we were just starting to talk, as I know I just arrived in you, but you actually came over here from Holland in 57, was it?
47.
47, I beg your pardon. Okay.
But that was in Sarnia.
Okay.
You know what Sarnia is?
Sarnia. Is that North Holland or?
No, Holland. Canada. In 47.
Sorry, in Sarnia.
In Sarnia, that's where we arrived.
Okay.
In July 47.
And did you work there for a while, or was he farming there?
We farmed there for 10 years.
Ah, okay.
Till 57.
Okay.
And then my dad sold that. That was my dad.
Yeah.
I worked off and on here. I worked on the railroad to CN for 5 years just to make some money to get going.
Yeah.
As a family. I peddled milk in Sarnia for 2 years with a horse and buggy.
Okay, so literally bringing in milk churns into the town. Wow.
And then we in Sarnia, there was not enough population. You could expand dairy farms.
Okay.
You couldn't, get started
in
dairy farming.
Not big enough.
There was not a demand. Well, the farmers that were shipping there was mostly co-ops. They want to expand, but there's no population enough to expand.
Population for the growth, yeah.
And of course, we didn't have the milk system in place then yet either.
Okay. So what made you come all the way down? Well, a lot of population down here, I guess.
There was a lot of population, and there was a lot of demand for milk here in the Niagara Peninsula because they shipped it to Hamilton and Toronto.
Of course.
Big cities.
Yeah.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
So there was always demand, but not in the summertime.
Okay.
Usually, then the farmers were milking more. And in the fall, that's when you could get a contract with the dairies.
Okay.
Of course, we got into it with a real estate man in that kind of setting, the dairy farmers, selling farms and stuff. We got in with him and looking at farms, but we started in, you would say it was January looking. And we looked at some places, and there was demand for milk.
Okay.
We either could buy a farm, all cows, everything, or an empty farm.
Yeah.
This was an empty farm.
Yeah.
But the reason we bought this farm is there was a slaughterhouse on there.
Okay.
And my father had a slaughterhouse
business as well.
Slaughter store in Middleburg.
Okay. A butcher store.
A butcher store.
Yeah.
The reason he was in the butchering is because my grandfather in Holland used to, in the wintertime, go around farms
And do the butcher
The
too?
butcher and packing up, people salting the meat in those days.
Yeah.
And my father had to go with him when he learned how to butcher.
Yeah.
So then he got married. He got into a butcher store.
And so you bought.
So that's how he started. But my grandfather was also a gardener.
Okay.
So growing veggies.
Yeah.
So my father was with both.
Okay. So you had and so was there a dairy here at all when you came in, or just the slaughterhouse?
Just the bare
Okay.
farm. And the slaughterhouse hadn't been used for a couple of years already.
And how many acres was it?
There was 260 acres.
Wow. And that was, when you came from Holland, that was a big farm.
That was a big. In Holland, in the Sarnia, we had a 100-acre farm.
Okay.
And it was, well, I'll tell you, he came with $500. Well,
$500
in his pocket. That's all the government would let us take out of Holland. Dollars.
That's interesting. Wow.
So he came with $500 with a family of 5.
Wow.
Well, 7 actually, but 5 kids.
Yeah.
I was the oldest.
Okay.
My youngest brother was only a year and a half.
Wow.
So anyway, there's a butcher. He had that trade. He came here. It was $500. We had to buy some furniture and a car because we ended up in the country there.
Yeah.
But he got very lucky.
Yeah.
A week while we're here, he was working in a butcher's slaughtering house in Sarnia.
Okay.
He got a job right away.
And he gets work straight away.
He has always worked for himself the last years.
Yeah.
He didn't, of course, we didn't know the language either. That was very hard.
Oh, wow.
No English.
No English.
No.
So when you came over from Holland, you didn't learn any English first or anything?
I did a couple of years in high school.
Okay.
Well, grade 7 and 8.
Yeah.
But my dad didn't, and my mother didn't know English at all.
Wow.
So, but got along fine. He butchered and...
And what age were you when you first came to this farm, then from the farm in Sarnia? How old were you?
Then I was 25.
You were 25.
24, actually.
Yeah, 24.
And
had you been a dairy farmer then at all? Were you dairying at 25?
Well, no. We had in Sarnia, we had about 10 cows.
Okay.
But we separated the milk and only sold the cream.
Yeah.
Fed up the skim milk to some pigs and calves.
And so it was the cream then you were selling in the town?
And the cream went to the creamery.
Okay.
But it just only 10 cows. The creamery, it barely paid our groceries. And,
I know. It
was tough.
And
without it. But he was lucky. My dad, 9 months after we were here, he bought a 100-acre farm.
9
With
months.
very poor buildings, of course.
Yeah.
The house, the roof leaked, and they had stripped the holes inside of the house. They were going to re-wall it, but they never did.
Okay.
We could see the cracks through the siding outside.
Oh my goodness, that was tough times.
That was tough times, and that's why I started working out after I was old enough. When I was 17, I started on the railroad.
That's when you were in the railroad.
And
okay.
I worked in the railroad. I was making, nice money there.
Yeah.
90 cents an hour.
Okay.
And I got up to $1.20 after 6 months as a carpenter or maintenance man on the cars on the railroad.
Well,
so my dad we milked those 10 cows by hand. No hydro on that farm.
Really?
No.
So this is back up in
Sarnia.
Sarnia. Yeah. I got to look up Sarnia now. What city would that be near Sarnia? Like, what's your nearest big city? Is it Sarnia?
Oh, well, it's west of London.
West of London. Okay. London.
It's right on the border of Port Huron into the States.
I know. Yes. Okay. Down near London, Ontario. Yeah.
Yeah, a little further. Yeah. Well past London.
And that's a fantastic farming area too.
Oh,
farmland.
Great land. Better land than we have here.
I was going to say, which is, yeah.
We're growing sugar beets there, and we're growing cucumbers, picking.
Wow.
And the first year we had a contract with a tomato processing factory.
Okay.
For 5 acres of tomatoes. It was nice because we didn't need no money to put the crop in, the plants and all that. It was all put on the contract.
Wow.
But they grew a lot of tomatoes in Chatham, Wallaceburg, these factories when they had enough to quit. And
Say that
we were
again,
a little later
Okay.
up there in Sarnia than there was in Chatham. They were always a couple of weeks earlier.
Okay.
So our tomatoes came a little bit later.
Oh, they came a bit
We
later.
just got started shipping tomatoes, and then they closed the factory.
Oh,
We just enough shipped to cover the cost what we had put into them.
yeah.
And they're made of tomatoes.
But it's interesting to hear about that because we went through a similar process on our farm in Ireland.
Oh,
For the longest time, we were growing sugar beet.
sugar beets too.
So my dad would always tell the story that I think my dad's heart was a tillage farmer first. He had a lovely big Dietz DX 110 tractor that actually came over from Holland. One of those crazy Dutch tractor hitches that we don't use. We use a pickup hitch, you know.
See, I was not familiar with farming in Holland.
No.
Because I was raised in town, actually, was in the butcher shop.
Yeah.
But I had to go with my dad already when the summertime when I was out of school, help skin and tails and feet when he's butchering.
Oh yeah. Someone had to get that job.
You know, but I never liked that.
No. What somebody has to do it.
Somebody has to do it, and that was fine. But it was not my future look what to do.
But what I love about your farm, and I suppose our own farm, is we tried piggery, we tried sugar beet, we tried tillage. We came back to dairy, and we kept it. You know, dairy was the best income.
So 24 7-day a week income.
It is.
And that's what
Yeah.
I like the cows. I like horses. So
since you've been here in Canada since you're 15, you've worked on the railroads, you grew cucumbers, you grew tomatoes, you grew sugar beets.
My father.
With your father, yeah.
With my father.
What was your father's first name?
Janis.
Did his English ever get very good? Did he learn off? Was he fluent English?
Well, he never really got fluent English.
Didn't need to. There's so many Dutch guys around here.
So many Dutch people.
So many Dutch people. Yeah.
So, he got around and, but he never drove a car before when he came here.
Really? Wasn't he brave?
Yeah.
We talk about...
But, the poor man never drove a car before. Now, he had the car. He had to go to work. He got a job. He had to go to work. He was about 5 kilometers. Not that far, but still too far to walk or bike in the winter. So we bought a 34 Chevy car.
34 Chevy, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All on borrowed money.
All borrowed money.
We have $500 for the family we came here.
Yeah.
You had to buy furniture. All the people that sponsored this don't have to bring nothing. It's all here. You can all buy it. But they forgot that we didn't go with nobody.
But going back on that, at the time, the Dutch government would only let you leave with $500.
Well, they, so much per head for family.
And
Dad only got $500.
And that was 1947.
That was 47.
And
2 years after the war.
Yeah, and immigration obviously was huge, leaving the Netherlands. Just starting. Yeah.
We could have went with the first immigrant boat.
First ever?
The immigrant boats.
Okay.
That was a month before, and they gave him 2 weeks' notice to get rid of his business there, so he couldn't get ready. Well, they said, okay, then we'll let you go. We'll send you a month later.
Oh.
Then we went on a cruise boat.
Oh,
but that was paid by Holland
money. So you came over in luxury then, I think.
Yeah. But we ended up in New York, in Hoboken.
Okay, that's where you landed.
That's where we landed. Then we put on the train there, we accepted there, and when the train to Sarnia,
there
we were. And here there was the sponsors that sponsored us, waiting by the station to pick us up.
Wow.
And then they put us up, and they found places for us.
Wow.
But that was tough going.
I was you were such pioneers.
Yeah.
You know, coming over here, hardly knowing, not knowing the language. You know, I know,
That's right.
I hear the stories.
But yeah, there were so many came at one time, so we had quite a Dutch group right away.
Really?
Yes, sir. Yeah, there was a little Dutch group there already.
Yeah.
With the church, and so you know you settled in all right, quick enough. But it was tough. No money.
Well, I always say about Canada is you're a nation of pioneers and brave people and tough people, because like, okay, it was a land of opportunity back, and you come over here to go farming.
Yeah.
But it was tough.
It was tough.
I hear the stories about the Irish people that went up to Quebec, and they were given maybe 25 acres of land by the Quebec government.
Mm-hmm.
But when they put their hands around the trees, they couldn't touch them. And they told them, it's your job to clear those trees
Yeah.
and make it farmland. So
that was more pioneering than we did.
Yeah, odd, yeah. But that's what I mean. That's you're a nation of pioneers, you know.
Yeah.
But coming back, so from $500. So tell me a little bit about the size of the farm now. How big is the farm now? How many acres of land? How many cows?
Now it's this was 260. Then we bought 80 acres next door.
Nice.
And we bought 80 acres across the road.
Nice.
Later on.
Oh wow.
So, and now they're looking for more, but now the price is so bad we can't afford it.
I was going to say, because like, you know, we're not too far from Niagara. We're not too far. As Chris, is it? We're not too far from Niagara. I can only imagine the price of land and houses between here and Niagara. It's
30,000 an acre.
30,000 an
acre now. They're selling for land.
For agricultural land.
The next to a farm.
Yeah.
Well, you can't see it here now. It's on the other side of the side road there.
Yeah.
It was sold for $2 million. No,
wow.
$3 million.
Wow.
Here only last fall.
If
in January. And the guy turned around and systematically tile drained it, so he put another 100,000 in there.
Really? Yeah.
That's how the prices went up.
Yeah.
We bought this place here, the first 260 for 47,000. Bare land.
First, okay.
A
57, you paid, how much did you say?
47,000.
47,000 Canadian for 260 acres.
Yeah. But now, no cattle.
No, just bare land.
There's a bit of bare land and a little bit of machinery.
The little bit of the
all the old buildings.
Yeah.
And the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
It's just way out of dated.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't pass butcher.
Yeah. You need to bring that up to spec.
Oh,
yeah. If you talk to your dad now, could he ever imagine the value of land now? And things? You couldn't have.
We couldn't.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Paying $3 million.
I know.
I know my grandson, the youngest one, he wanted to buy it because he thinks he needs a little more land.
Well,
he keeps expanding. Well, you can't expand anymore right now until you get more quota, and the quota is expensive.
Yeah, quotas. Yeah,
I'll keep saying, man, maybe that's the way it's going. We made a good living at 50. We paid for this farm, did put them silos all up.
Yeah.
In all the years that we've been here. And we made a good living.
Yeah.
You know,
and raised it
for 50 cows.
50 cows and but
today
no, you can't.
The prices anymore.
You can't make it work with 50 cows now anymore.
Not no more.
No.
But he's up to 100 here now.
Yeah.
So he's still looking for. But now
but
he didn't look far enough ahead. He should have built this a little bigger yet.
Yeah.
At the time. Well, when he built this, he only had enough cows for the half.
Yeah. Hello. Now.
So.
I'm getting some great information here now. We're having a good chat. So all types of, coming back to what I find is an interesting story all over is like, similar as my farm, we went through different crops and everything, but we came back to dairy.
You came back to dairy.
When did you realize that dairy was the important thing to get into? Why did dairy suit you?
Because it was 6-7 days a week income.
Okay.
And if you had a contract, you were steady.
Okay.
But See, before this quota system was put in place here in 65, or 63 or 65, you could get a contract with dairies. Well, all dairies were different. One would pay a lot better than another. We managed, the real estate man had hooked up with a milk trucker. That truck, and they knew when the dairies needed looking for contract. So he got us hooked up with a trucker, and he got us a little dairy in Toronto. It was a Jewish little dairy. And they paid 90% to 100% usually for the milk.
So it was
what we shipped.
It was.
We didn't set no amount of milk we could ship.
Okay.
Eh?
There was no quota, no restriction.
No quota, no restriction.
Okay.
We could move.
Okay.
But had to set this barn all up for dairy. It had been a few rows of cows in the old barn, and that's all. And when we come here, so we had to built a piece on the back of that barn and changed the old barn, took the barn floor and stuff where they drove right through, out, made the stalls 50 right through.
50 tie stalls.
Tie stalls.
Yeah.
And that's how we got started. Well, then that little dairy sold in 60. I believe it was 60. To a bigger dairy. In Toronto. And they also had a dairy in Hamilton, the same dairy.
Okay.
But we could hook up with that one in, they sold us, that Jewish dairy sold it in Toronto. I think they only paid about 50-60% of your milk you shipped. Price, and the rest was always surplus price.
Really?
So they didn't pay that much. But the neighbor down the road here, he was shipping the same truck, the same milk truck picked up.
Right.
For that dairy's Hamilton division. They were paying 80-90% usually of what they shipped. In Toronto, we only got 50-60%.
What do you mean by 50-60%?
Of what they shipped.
They wouldn't pay you for all the amount of milk?
No, not the full price.
Right. Okay.
So we started shipping to a creamery that made butter and stuff. A little co-op thing. And we shipped one day there, and the other day we shipped enough for what they let us ship there.
So the evolution you've had in dairies here is sounds like similar to what we've had in Ireland as well. The smaller co-op. But what I found interesting there is, to start out milking, it was your real estate guy and a trucker that started helping you get the milk collected first.
Yes.
And the small dairy bought by another dairy. And they're all just so big now, right?
They're all got so big. But anyway, we shipped the extra milk that we wouldn't get paid for anyway. To this creamery. We did that for about 3 years. And then they came in with the milk quota. The government. And that was, for us, it was a big relief.
So that was going to...
So they took our milk from those... From 3 years, average, what we shipped average. And that they said our quota was. So we managed to get a very decent quota. And that really helped us.
So...
Because then now we were safe.
Because you had a volume...
We had the volume in, and then they set our quota according to that.
What year did quota come in for you?
60. I'm not sure now. 63 or 65.
Because for my dad,
I think it might be 63, if I'm not mistaken, but it could be.
Well, on our farm in Ireland, my dad bought another farm up the road, about 6-7 kilometers up the road, and interest rates in the early 80s went to 23-24%. So my dad, to keep an income dairying, he would roll the corn himself for the feed for the cows. And he worked so hard. But he got.
You mean you didn't grow your own feed for your cows?
We were then, we'd grow a certain amount of barley. In Ireland now, it's difficult to grow corn and barley. We don't get the sunlight like you do. We don't get the summers. No,
you don't.
No, we Grass is what we feed.
I thought it's pretty good there.
No, it's not as good as we'd like now.
Have you been in Holland watching the corn grow there?
Oh yeah. Oh
They
yeah.
got a pretty good corn there.
Oh, Holland.
At least the times that I was there.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't have as
Well,
far.
not when I was there, but we visited a few times.
Yeah.
And they're growing pretty good corn there.
But similar to your story on our farm, because my dad was putting out a volume of milk, and it was a lot trying to deal with those heavy loans, we got our volume high enough that when the quota kicked in, we always had a nice
You did get
quota on
quota
our
in
farm. Yeah.
Ireland. You get on the quota system too.
It's gone now.
It's gone now?
It's gone now since somebody's going to correct me on this now, but I want to say 2014 or
Is that
14.
really?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
lost your quota.
yeah.
system.
Quota's gone. Yeah.
Is that
and
an
milk
improvement?
Well, milk production has just exploded in Ireland in the last 10
It did
years.
too.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
see.
And like in Ireland, out of every 10 litres of milk we produce, about 9 is exported.
I see.
So we're big exporting. Like it's not for the home market at all. It's about exports.
Excellent. I see.
Yeah. Well, coming back to your dairy, do you think milk quota was the biggest shake-up or changes that you saw?
Yeah.
Yeah. Milk quota.
The quota system.
Yeah.
That really helped.
So you say it helped you, yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah,
helped.
that helped.
Yeah.
Steady.
Steady, yeah. Consistent farm.
Consistent farming.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the quota prices
Yeah.
started selling and buying.
Yeah.
And that's when the price went crazy for a while.
Yeah.
Now they got it set at 25,000 a kilo. In a gym?
Yeah.
Around 25,000 a kilo quota?
It's set at 25.
It's set at 25, isn't it?
Yeah. 25,000.
A kilo.
Fat.
For a right to ship a kilo of milk.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
It's cheaper because there was a lot more, Jim? For a while. They were way up.
Yeah,
And-
it was open for bidding, and it was.
Yeah.
But
Open for bidding.
some provinces of Canada still have that.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a lot more
Yeah, but it,
quota in I think Alberta.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe-
Isn't that the same as here?
Yeah.
I thought it was all the same in Canada. Oh, it was different in provinces.
Different per province.
Different.
Mm.
Ontario and Quebec are steady at 25. They've capped it.
Well, the quota is gone in Europe, right? But the new quota on us all now is.
Well, you see, America's trying to get our quota out, eh?
How do you mean now? That the Americans are?
Oh, yeah, they're pushing to get, for us to get rid of the quota.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So they can dump milk in here.
Yeah.
Well, well, right now it's a mess with that tariff.
Yeah. No, we're not going to talk the two T words. We're not talking tariffs or Trump. We're not talking that. Let's keep talking about cows. Let's talk about cows. We get sad.
I was going to tell you another reason we came here because my dad had an idea. He wanted to go to New Zealand.
Wow. A lot of
To
Dutch
emigrate.
people went, yeah. My friends, the Van Burens of Agriplastics, the founder of Agriplastics, Joe Van Buren, same story as yours, came over as a kid, working on a farm, but a brother of his went to New Zealand. So one went to New Zealand and one went to Canada. But sorry, you almost went to New Zealand.
Well, he couldn't find a sponsor there.
Okay.
In Canada, he knew people that went there before the Depression,
Yeah.
and he knew those yet. And he was just in touch with them.
Yeah.
And they sponsored us. That's
Oh,
how we
wow.
come into Canada.
Wow.
But we couldn't get to New Zealand.
Couldn't get a sponsor.
No, we couldn't. He didn't know anybody there to ask him to sponsor.
Wow.
So, but for the curiosity, I went for a trip to New Zealand and see what it was like over there.
Oh, right. Oh, you went down.
I've been there
Okay.
for a trip
Oh, yeah.
and see what it would have been like.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it's a nice country if you're there. It's
Yeah.
not as cold.
Yeah.
The cows are always outside,
Yeah.
you know. But farming, they weren't doing any better than what we were doing here. I couldn't see it.
Yeah. Different model, like grass.
Oh, yeah, it's all grass, but they have no quota system.
No quota system, yeah.
Hey, they're only dependent on export.
Oh, completely.
completely
Excuse me.
New Zealand.
Like Ireland, we're the same way. We're all based in export, absolutely. But I deal with some Dutchmen down there. They've all the Dutch names, the Zedestratens and the Hermans and whatever,
is that
you know,
right?
and they still have the little hint of a Dutch accent like you do. You never lost it. I've spent long enough in Holland, I can pick up a Dutch
You did, eh?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You have an accent too. So.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I don't think I have an accent, but everyone says I do.
You're right.
Yeah,
No, but that's what happened, and that's
yeah.
so
And
fun.
so
We were
I've-
very well blessed here in Canada, and we,
yeah, like
you know, it's,
land of opportunity if you work hard.
if you work hard,
If you work
you
hard.
have to put time in it. I'll
Yeah,
tell you.
yeah, yeah.
I'll
And like,
tell you, the first 10 years on this farm, it was tough going.
yeah,
The neighbors always said later on,
yeah,
they're never going to make it. When we bought that, they'll never make it there.
really.
Because at the time, there was 2 Dutchmen further up the road here. They were going broke,
Okay.
and they were milking cows too.
Yeah.
But they went broke.
Well, I'll tell you a lot of dairy farms that say no more than our own. One of the reasons I'm in this business myself, we had a nice pedigree dairy herd. We were actually called Creva, but sadly in 2003 we were depopulated with mad cow disease,
Oh, well,
and
okay.
that nearly broke us too, you know. But what I do like about farmers and farmer mentality is we're always trying to we're existing and we're growing and we're just trying to make it better for the next generation.
Well, yes, that's the aim.
And every generation hits a challenge like that, whether it was money went to like 25% on us.
Now
and-
the next generation
quota.
here is the land prices.
Well, it's land prices.
See this right now? I mean, getting out of the hand.
A big challenge for us is sustainability, nitrates, and managing your fertilizer. That's the big challenge, and certainly
Well,
you
That, I guess, is now too, because I'm out of that, because
Yeah.
the boys are
that's the
looking
next
at
challenge.
they're doing the buying and that.
Yeah,
Everything's getting more expensive.
yeah,
Machinery, it's all big.
yeah.
Than when
Yeah.
we first started here.
So I've a couple of quick questions for you now before we finish up. Right? In all your years of farming, what was your favorite tractor?
My favorite tractor?
Yeah.
International.
International.
Yeah.
Full stop. Any particular model?
Oh, I don't know. I love the H's. They
The
were good.
H's. All right. All
But
right.
very sorry, the first tractor we bought, we looked at 2, the
Yeah.
Massey Ferguson, a Massey
Yeah,
30,
I saw a Massey
And
Ferguson in the shed there. Yeah.
and Farm H.
Farm. Okay.
That were the going tractors at the time
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
bought our first tractor.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have much money, so you took the cheapest.
The cheapest. Yeah,
It was
yeah,
the
yeah.
Massey
And
Ferguson.
being
But it was
Dutch now too.
$1,000
Dutchmen know a good
difference.
deal. Good deal.
$1,000 different. That
Yeah,
was a lot of
yeah.
money at the time.
Yeah.
But we found out later it was not so good.
Okay. Okay.
The Massey, we always had repairs. Every 2 years you had to put new valves in it.
Okay.
An H. Well, we bought this farm and there was an H on it. We ran that old thing for a long time yet.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
Probably,
Well,
but
So my next question: favorite cow? I see a picture of a nice cow there. Like all of us.
no, okay.
Pedigree. Was there a
I have
particular?
to admit
Yeah.
that I am not a cow man. That
You're
I
not a
can
pedigree
see.
man.
Like cows,
Yeah.
and as long as they milk, that was all that mattered to me.
That's all right. That's all right.
I hated paperwork,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to.
No big pedigrees or anything.
No
Yeah.
pedigree stuff. And when I seen these farmers with all these pedigree papers,
Yeah. It's
when
a
they came
different.
in, when
yeah.
my son here, Jim, he'd say when he took over, he went to put the pedigree, and they came here from the Holstein club or whatever it was to draw them all up. He had some farmers come in, help him draw all these cows. And the head man from, I talked to him, and I said, "What are you doing with all this paper?" I said, "That makes awful poor hamburger." And he looked at me and said, "What do you mean?" Well, I says, "All I do with my cows is milk them, and when they're done, hamburger."
Hamburger. And a leather jacket, maybe.
Hey?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never had enough
Yeah.
cows extra to sell
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and get into that paperwork. I hated paperwork to start with,
And yeah.
so I never into it.
And not only is it paperwork, like we were big in pedigree in our day, but It was a lot of work, the sales and the auctions, like it consumed
all that
us,
stuff,
you know.
that one not
Yeah,
for me.
yeah. You were commercial dairy, but you never left Holstein Friesian. You didn't try any other crossbreeds in your years or anything.
No, we've had a couple of jerseys a couple of times, wasn't it?
Yeah, for
You had
solids.
some here too. Have you still got them? Yeah,
Still have one.
still got them.
Yeah, yeah. And come here, would you?
Crossbred
Grass
at
breeding.
one point because
Well, you did some crossbreeding.
yeah, there was a time when that was the hybrid
Yeah,
part of breeding. Thought they were going to get going, but it didn't go that far.
Yeah.
So we did it a couple times.
yeah. So in Ireland now, the dairies, it's quite popular doing that, the crossbreeding and kind of more of a grass-based animal, you know. That's quite popular.
Of course, with the sex and the semen now.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't have to.
not as much, no.
Not as much. Yeah, like my other son-in-laws and my grandsons.
Yeah,
They breed a lot. Black ones.
Angus.
Angus, yeah.
Because they breed enough Holsteins for heifers.
Yeah, yeah.
Sex, so they don't have to have all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
calves.
And genotyping and everything, absolutely, yeah.
So they get a lot more for the crossbreed calves.
Yeah, yeah.
Matter of fact, I take them to the market for them all the time lately. The
Oh,
last
yeah.
couple of years. I
get-
never seen the price of calves like that before in
I
my
know.
life.
I know. We're having
$14, $15, $1,600 for a 10-day-old calf in the market.
16 for a 10-day-old
For a
calf.
10-day-old calf.
Yeah,
I just gave my grandson the check from last week
yeah,
from the one I took the week before. $1,660
yeah. Well,
for a bull calf 10 days old.
we're not getting prices like that in Ireland, but we're getting our highest bull calf prices ever now. But it's only two, right? Like farmers getting paid a fair amount.
There's
Finally,
an
you know.
article in the papers in my truck right now.
Yeah,
I should let you read it on the cattle prices.
yeah.
Yeah, they figure it should be good for another year.
It will be good for another year. It'll hold.
For another year before
We
they
hope
get
so.
caught up with the cows that they need.
As long as we don't talk about these two T's that could change everything. The Trump and the tariffs
Oh,
might
yeah.
change everything, but we hopefully not. But come here, I'll ask you one last question. Well, I could keep asking you more and more about, like, I mean, establishing the farm and coming over here. I mean, it's tremendous. But would you have any advice to anyone in farming now or getting into dairy farming? Is there any piece of advice you'd like to give someone?
That's a good question. That depends what they're into, what farming they want to get into.
That's very important. Yeah, yeah. Do what you enjoy.
Do what you enjoy.
Yeah.
You're farming or something like I wouldn't enjoy working with pigs.
Okay. Okay.
Chickens, I guess I could handle chickens.
I think I saw a large poultry farm over there. Did I? Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's poultry farms around here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My cows are like the best.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
grew up with cows
All about dairy and
when I was in Holland during the war. My grandfather's little place, we had a couple of cows there, so we have our own milk
okay.
because the Germans, didn't give you much.
Yeah, yeah.
But my grandfather had this little 5-acre plot where he grew veggies, and he had a little barn there. And my dad bought a couple of cows.
And have you ever gone back to that place? Have you gone back and found, is the old barn still there or the old thing? Everything's
We
gone.
lived on the island, and we were flooded out during the war.
Oh.
In 44.
Oh.
Bombed our dikes, flooded our island.
That's the whole Polder area, all that got.
Walsall.
Okay.
You probably heard of it.
Yeah.
You've been in Holland enough.
Yeah. I've been in Holland.
That's my grandfather was just outside of Middleburg,
Outside of Middleburg. Okay.
and that's when we had 2 cows.
It is south, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
more in the
south,
south. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm more familiar
Close to
with.
Belgium.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with the north west.
Well,
not that Holland's very big now, but
No, it's not
it's not very big. Yeah,
Not compared to Canada.
Not
no.
compared to even Ontario.
No,
yeah,
Ontario. But anyway, we lived, and my grandpa had a couple of little barns there, and he grew vegetables on the glass and stuff.
yeah,
So, when the Germans put us on quota,
yeah,
coupons for everything you bought, you had to have coupons, you only get so much.
yeah.
So my dad bought a couple of cows, and
Wow.
we had butter and made our own butter. I stood there stomping butter
Yeah,
Some
the
days
butter churn.
for an hour in the
Yeah.
milk can with the topper.
Yeah. But,
But we had the cows. I went to my dad got me a goat and a cart,
yeah,
and I went into town in the middle of the picking up potato peelings from the people
yeah.
to feed our cows. The 2 cows that we had,
Wow.
and that's how I got into cows, and I enjoy the cows.
But we'll finish up now. We'll switch out for the next generation. But can you remember? Because it's so interesting you coming over like at 15 and your father like. But can you remember what was the decision that made your dad say, "Okay, we're leaving. We can only bring $500 with us. We're going to Canada or New Zealand." You were looking for sponsorship because that took some time. That took months or a year to plan all that, right? It wasn't a very quick thing, was it?
Didn't take him that long.
No?
About 6 months. I think he had.
Well, 6 months.
Yeah,
Find a sponsor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he had to get a sponsor,
Okay.
and that helped. See,
Yeah.
but
You didn't see a future in Holland, or you didn't
he
see it
didn't see no future after the war
after the war. Okay.
in Holland for
Yeah.
4 boys. Well, I was the 3rd one.
Yeah. Okay.
I was the first one, but then I had 2 more
Yeah.
brothers. He didn't see no future there.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
big business, he had a store. Just before the war, he had 5 people working for him in the store.
Oh wow! In the butchery.
Shop,
Yeah.
making sausage and all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
During the war, he had to lay them all off.
Of course.
Well, he didn't lay them off, but he bought a couple more horses
Yeah.
out of the barn to keep the men working.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were going to send. If you laid them off, they were out of work. They'd send them to Germany to work in the factories.
Oh wow!
And
Wow!
that's how he kept them from going to Germany.
Wow!
He bought
some
3
horses.
teams of horses
Wow!
and wagons, and they were hauling dirt for the Germans to build bunkers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would have been sent to a factory
in
and
Germany.
they mightn't have come out of that factory.
A lot of them didn't.
Yeah.
And the trade, everything was scarce.
Yeah.
The meat was scarce. There was not much work in the butcher shop.
Yeah.
So he actually, he couldn't keep them, so he had to do something, lay them off. And
Yeah.
so that's why he did that. And then after the war, things are scarce. He didn't see no future.
No future.
But now looking back,
Yeah.
it would have been okay. I mean, the boot, there's full, everything's full again.
Yeah.
If you stayed in the butcher shop. But I wasn't interested in butchering.
Yeah. Okay.
Neither, but okay. That
Well,
didn't matter.
maybe your dad picked up on that too. Maybe your dad picked up on that too.
Maybe
That you
he
wanted
did,
to.
But okay, my other brothers, they weren't old
Yeah.
enough yet to show what they wanted.
Yeah.
The one turned to be a farmer. He had a big turkey farm over here.
Oh yeah.
Just up the road all the way. He had the turkey farm.
Your
there.
brother.
My brother.
Oh yeah.
He's passed away now, but he's not been sold.
And
the other brother, he's in the construction. He built houses.
Oh wow.
He's been in construction.
He did okay.
And then my youngest one, he wasn't interested in farming too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to the butcher for a while, and then he didn't know what he really wanted. He's done a lot of things. He bought a farm next door, but that didn't last. He went into pigs. Of course, that was the best of the time he did that, because the pigs were really bad price.
Yeah.
But
But Dutch innovation again, as you said earlier, picking the type of farming that you like or you enjoy. So he was going through it.
Yeah.
But I was doing the math there now. So what? You're 57 now, are you? Years of age?
57. Hey. Why do you think I got gray hair?
But you're still, as I say, you're still active on the farm anyhow. You're helping with the market and you're giving some advice, as my dad does to me.
But they tell me no. Watch it. You're gonna break your neck.
Yeah, I know.
Especially this winter with the ice. I can't walk too good.
Yeah.
My walking is not good no more.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years I haven't done too much. But how many years did I hold that ship pile empty every fall?
Yeah.
I spread the manure.
Oh yeah. As my dad,
the last 2 years, no, the winter's slippery.
My dad's 82, and winter just gone by. 82. He put out all the feed. We don't need a feeder wagon. We just have grass silage.
Oh,
So he put out the feed for the winter for us. 82. So
82.
yeah.
Well, how old do you think I am?
I'll go with 70.
Yeah.
So 70.
Over as a teenager.
Yeah, I should be better at math. I'm not good at math. Yeah. How old are you?
92.
92. If I thought, because I'm thinking about the interview and stuff, if I thought I should know, wow. Well, if you're a testimony that like farming keeps you healthy and hard work keeps you healthy, 92.
Maybe I didn't work hard enough.
Yeah. Do I even see any hearing aids there, Anthony? Do I?
No, but
You're hearing me fine.
I should be getting into this stuff. But I just like my dad. Oh, it's not worth it anymore.
Well, I wouldn't know.
I'm not going to be around long enough to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, that'll make the hearing aids worthwhile. I don't think you're hearing enough anyhow.
My
You're hearing
wife
enough.
has them too. And she's always sitting in Paul and these stupid things. I just hate I
Yeah.
have a good friend. He got them too 3 years ago now. Oh, he's always having trouble with them stupid things.
The stupid hearing aids.
Oh,
But thank you so much, Isaac.
Yeah.
The lovely story to hear about coming over from after the war and like and how tremendous you've done here as a family, you know.
That's why a lot of immigrants came from Holland,
Yeah.
because of the war. You know, there was no future in Holland.
Yeah.
For the young
Yeah.
generation. So they
Yeah.
seen an opening, and
Yeah. As long as there's no war now between Canada and USA.
I still always have to say, my dad really had a lot of courage to do it.
A lot of courage.
He was in his 40s when he did.
Yeah.
Okay, he's still an active man.
Yeah.
But it was a big risk to take.
Yeah.
It was $500 of the family to Canada, not knowing the language.
Unbelievable.
You know.
Unbelievable.
But he wasn't the only one.
No.
Oh no, that's not it. I mean, there were a lot of them moved.
You know, there was a whole group of people, and there's stages over the years where mass immigrations go to different countries, and
Absolutely.
you come here and you're not alone.
Yeah.
There is a
Well,
community.
we, of course, at 47, you didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, you must have known other.
There was
going
some.
over.
There was some, but they, the friends that he had, that he knew, they went in 29. But when we come here, they weren't any further than we did. The depression was so hard here.
Oh, the depression. Okay.
The depression was terrible.
Yeah.
They started too, and they just started farming at their own farm. They all were renting here and there, and farmed to stay alive.
Yeah.
But then finally, when we came in 47, they were just the first year on the farm.
Yeah.
And they had 2 boys my age, so we got along good. And,
Yeah. Back in 47, had
Yeah, back in
someone same age
47.
to get on with them. But it's every generation of farming and every has different challenges, like, you know. So you were getting established and all the work you had to do to get going, and you know it's about
now
facing
you've
it.
been in Holland.
I have, yeah. I've worked in. I did
Worked in Holland.
I did my farm placement. So I did dairy. You do a dairy farm
What do you
cert.
see the dairy business, the dairy farms in Holland?
Well, there's actually a nice video on YouTube like this. There's a family Harman where I did my placement for 3 months. And it's amazing to see how that farm has evolved, you know. But the challenge for them, one of the biggest challenge for them is slurry management. You know, they've done well for themselves. Lovely family farm.
Well, we've been back 3 times, I guess. And
Yeah.
my wife's family is from dairy farmers too.
Yeah.
It's tough farming and all.
It's very tough. It's like
so much regulation.
so much regulation.
I
And
keep reading the article in this family.
Yeah.
Dairy farm magazine that comes once a month or better. I always read the Dutch part.
yeah.
You know, it gives of all the countries around Europe.
The milk price and how they do.
Prices and stuff, and
Yeah.
what they're doing. And Holland is always the longest part.
Yeah.
But I see the regulations. It's
but-
awful.
But look at
But yeah, it's going to come here too.
but the
Environmental stuff, it's coming here.
Well, I remember when I was working on the farm, so I would have been on the farm in the mid-90s working as a student, say in Holland,
Mid-90s.
1990s.
Okay.
And I remember at the time he was head of Therman, he was logging all the fertilizer He used to have to apply to the local city or council if he needed to burn some wood on the farm. Oh, and what was the other thing? I think the other thing is like, I know it sounds terrible now, but there was something else. I think we couldn't say burn our own rubbish or something on the farm. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, why is it? And he just looked at me and he goes, comes to Holland first, and then the rest of you are going to get it. And he was right. There's so much regulations now, and everything that
I read it.
Yeah.
How the poor farmer keep up with it all.
And they do. And now land values, I think, are up on 100 and something thousand an acre. Like the land prices are really, really high.
There is no land. It's shrinking all the time because they're building.
Yeah.
There's not going to be no land left to farm in Holland.
Oh yeah, it's if you look at Holland map, it's all concrete,
Yeah.
But what I like about Ireland and Canada is, I think there's a lot more respect for dairy farmers because I think we're closer within a few generations. Everyone, like my mother-in-law up in Ottawa, like she grew up on a small farm. My wife's Canadian mother-in-law, and like in Ireland too, everyone's still only 2 generations away from a farm, whereas Holland and some more developed countries, they've no connection with farming, and they just don't care. They don't understand.
Don't know what a cow looks like.
Yeah, and they don't understand. Like if I flip the camera here now and just show how happy and content.
Yeah, you got a cow calving.
These ladies there are. She's looking in at us. I think it was 95. Oh, they can't be calving. Okay.
She was really pushing there, wasn't she?
I thought there was. Maybe.
That far. You're drying them.
We're only on dry.
I thought we thought she was going to tell, right?
It was a good story. Like we said, we're looking out at the dry cows. It was a good story.
Pushing hard.
Yeah. Well, listen, Isaac, thank you very much for that conversation. That was it was nice to meet you.
At least get something out of my chest, I guess.
Exactly. And maybe instead of going to Florida now some winter, you can come over to Ireland.
Come to Ireland?
Yeah.
No, our traveling days are done.
Days are done. That's right. Thank you very much.
No, we've traveled. We can't complain. We went 18 years to Florida.
Oh yeah.
Actually, more than that. We went a couple of years before. We bought the trailer and we went for 2 weeks at a time to drive around Florida. And then we got into this camp with all these friends of ours and they talked us into buying the trailer, and we were there for 18 years.
Yeah. Similar story with my in-laws as well too. It's a thing to do. Go down to Florida for a bit of sun.
Oh, my brother has been going there now. I talked to him the other day. I said, well, did Trump kick you out yet? Well, not yet, he says, but he says we've got to fill a whole form now before we go next time.
I know. Yeah, I mean, maybe what you talk about the challenges he had since the war, but like there might be some new challenges coming that we haven't even thought about. But anyhow, we'll stay positive. We'll finish on a good note. We'll finish on the note of the better milk price and better price for cows.
Doing okay. I don't hear them complaining too much.
We'll see.
They seem to have
I've got up next generation now for next interview. I'm sure you'll have we'll always find something to complain about anyhow farmers. We have to.
That's true.
We have to. I'll turn off this now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.